Hello, you're so close. But anyway, hello sunshines and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, my name is Jaala, and if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back because I know it's been a hot minute. Now, I want to introduce this sort of video because it's going to be new for everyone, even if you are returning. So essentially, I, over the last few months and this whole year really, have really gotten into my personal finance, my budgeting, and all of the things. And there's a couple of creators that I keep coming back to that have been a real inspiration. So firstly, Ella McGrath, or Smiley Citrus, who is a Australian creator in South Australia, and also Zoe Pritchard, who is in Canada. And I like them for different reasons. I like Ella because she's Australian, and so it's very applicable to me in terms of tax, working for herself, all that stuff. But in terms of her financial position, like, it's very inspirational. But she is also a double income homeowner household, and that's just not relatable for me in that aspect. Whereas Zoe Pritchard in Canada is a freelancer as well, making similar-ish money, has a couple of jobs here and there, but is using the Canadian tax system and investing and all that stuff. So I wanted to start doing monthly budgeting, goal checking in, resets, all that sort of thing. So I guess for a bit of background on me, my name is Jaala, as I said before. So I am 28 years old, living in Queensland, Australia, and I currently I'm going to be so honest, I live at home with my parents. Since I got back from traveling overseas late last year, I haven't really had a stable full-time job. So I've been living at my parents', which I'm so lucky for. And I'm going to be so real, I don't pay any bills or board with them. I just provide my own groceries, and you're going to have to excuse the sun. It's in and out of the clouds today. But yeah, so I pay for all of my own groceries, my own car, my own registration, my own phone bills, all that stuff I pay for myself. But I do live under their roof, and chip in for bills here and there, maybe, if they ask me to. But yes, so I don't own a property, I don't rent a property, I don't have any debt aside from my HECS student loan, which I don't really pay. I don't really earn enough to pay anyway. In Australia, you earn over a certain amount and then you start contributing. So potentially this financial year I will earn enough to start paying, but yeah. So for sources of income, I firstly run my own freelance marketing and AI agency where I am a sole trader. I freelance through that. Then I also recently have picked up a casual receptionist position with a gym in town. And then I do odd house sitting gigs here and there. So essentially pretty low-ish income. It's getting better. But yeah, so this is going to be like a really realistic look into my finances, which is a bit nerve-wracking, but I want to be realistic, relatable, show you where I'm at, and hopefully over the years document growing my net worth, changing life circumstances, moving out. But yeah, I also want to preface that I use the CoPlenty spreadsheet. I got that from Ella at the start of the year, but my numbers are quite skewed and weird, so I cannot wait for a fresh year to reset. And I have a exciting sort of work trip coming up in September. So I'll be going to Bali for 2 weeks, and it's sort of like a fun work holiday, if you will. So I am part of like a co-founder, early founder group community, and they are having a retreat in Lombok. So I'm going there at the end of September. So my budget's going to look a little bit different this month. I've already done a rough budget, so I just want to talk through it this month. But yeah, so I guess let's just firstly we'll recap August budget, August goals, see how I went with everything, and then we'll move into September goals for the month and then the budget. So make sure you've got your drink and let's just get straight into it. Could be the last time that we fall in love again. I look at the left to spend, it's going to be off because my saving and spending debt tracker down the bottom here was like all over the show. It was not accurate at all because at the start of the year, I had no idea how to track pulling from my sinking funds, and I just don't think I was tracking things accurately. So it led to like all skewed numbers. So we did a correction so that I could have the saving and debt tracker reflect my sinking fund balances correctly. So you'll see here there is a transaction for travel right here, and it is for $1,516.32. I did not spend that, but to get the balances to match up, it was an adjustment that I decided to make. So if we get rid of this, if we zero this down and get rid of that, what does that do? So it says I've got $44.68 left to spend, which is far more accurate. But yeah, so that is what happened. It showed that I added extra to my travel sinking fund when I didn't. So my goals, I'll firstly, I guess, talk about how I do my budget because it is slightly different. I know Ellie uses the CoPlenty habit and goal tracker as well. I don't do that. I have a Notion board and template, which I think could be its own separate video potentially. I don't know. But if we go in, I don't think it's going to work because I'm only screen recording this one tab. But yeah, let me pull up my goals for August so we can see, and I'll pop in a little screenshot here. I don't even think I had financial goals for August. No. But I do also, what I do is I have my like budget for the month with all of my monthly like categories of spending and everything like that. And then to make sure I'm on budget every week, I have sort of an allocation for like when certain income comes in, this is where it's allocated to, this is how much you have to spend for like groceries every day, all that sort of stuff. So if we go to August, where is August? Again, I'll put a screenshot of this in here. I have like a financial plan. So my goals for the month were to save $600 or more for Bali. Literally hit that this morning. I got my pay for my second job in, and that puts my sinking fund for travel, if we go over to the saving and debt tracker, at $607.09. So we hit that goal. Then I had to save $400 for a hair appointment I have in the first week of September in a sinking fund. So let's go and have a look at what that's at. Yep, so my glow up, I don't know why it's duplicated in here, but I only have one. My glow up fund is at $418.50. So that's ready to go when I get my hair appointment done. I probably only get my hair done like 2 or 3 times a year, but when it comes around, it's a bit expensive. Then I had to finish paying my dad back for my car. Again, I sent him the last transfer today. So officially now, apart from my student debt, I am debt free again, even though it was to my dad, but like mentally in my head, it was still a debt. And then I had to follow my $70 a week spending money plan, which I have been pretty good at this month. Not perfect, but yeah. And then you'll see down here, I have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So just say I have an expense coming up in one of the weeks, I'll try and like plan ahead for it so that when it comes up, like my hair appointment, it's not a big deal. And I like to allocate out all my money. So if we go here to August, yes, it's going to be whack, but we can see if I got rid of that correction to the travel fund, I actually am in the green for the month. I have $44 left to spend. We do still have like another 5 days left of August, but yeah. So if we look here at my income for the month, I earned $2,955.09. Let me zoom in on this a bit now. And I've always usually between bills and subscriptions, it's about $300 a month. So if we come over here, I've got my gym, car insurance, car registration. That is paid quarterly, but I put aside the money each month so that when it comes around each quarter, it's just sitting there in my bills account ready to go. My phone bill is $0 because I pay that through my business. And then I did get private dental cover, which comes out every month. And my gym is $25 a week or $100 a month. But I'm hoping that September will be the last month I'll have to pay that, because at my new job I do get a free gym membership. So that expense will be gone, which will mean I'll have $100 extra to allocate every month, which is really exciting. Then if we come down to my subscriptions, these aren't all active. So I've got Spotify, iCloud, which I could probably run through my business. I should look into that. Runner, I think I cancelled that because I'm not really running at the moment. And then I've got Hey You. So none of these are active at the moment. So that's all my like fixed expenses every month, I guess, is these ones here. So if we zoom out a little bit more, then if we look at my expenses here, I budgeted, I go over it. I don't think there's been a month where I haven't blown my expense budget. So my budget was $511.85 and we went over by $1,005.91, which is amazing. Where did I go over the most? I think I already know. It was shopping for Bali, wasn't it? Yes, it was indeed. Look here, $741.19 alone in shopping, although I am going to be returning a lot of that. So that will go down a little bit and my Bali fund will go back up because I did take the money from my Bali sinking fund for the shopping. Did I need it? Absolutely not. And shopping and beauty expenses is something I'm really trying to work on, because if we go to the annual dashboard and it shows here your top 5 categories of spending, I don't want shopping in there, to be perfectly honest. It doesn't really reflect my money values. So over the next few months I would like to try and shift that out of the top 5 and hopefully have something better in there, like investing, or I don't really know what else. But anyway, I'm getting distracted. So we can see here shopping. Also, I do find that takeaway is something I always tend to go over on every month. I like GYG. Sue me. So yeah. What else? Health and wellness I went over on. What was that for? Where was that? Where did I go over on that? What was that for? Oh yeah. Why is that? Oh, so that's 2 things. I bought some glass water bottles to increase my water intake in the morning, and also I prepaid a deposit for a massage and blow dry in Bali. So I always go back and forth about whether to just label any expense during my Bali trip as like a travel expense, or if I should include it in like its own category as if I was home. I'm unsure on that. So I think I'm gonna just label it as everything rather than like a travel expense, because it's not really a travel expense. And I have been lucky enough to pay for most of the Bali trip out of my work account. I haven't really used any of my personal funds to fund this trip, apart from like spending money and food while I'm there. But in terms of like flights, accommodation, airport parking, all that stuff has been through my business. So it's still my money, but coming out of the business pot, if that makes any sense at all. So I do want to also just quickly preface that when I haven't talked about my incomes either. So I did have another casual job at an agency, but as of this month, that's sort of wrapping up. And so I'll no longer be receiving a paycheck from Helios after this one that I received today. And then, so Moto Agency, this is my business income from my freelance. So I am actually restructuring a little bit. So as of September, I'll be paying myself a base salary of $200 a week or $800 a month. And then at the end of the month, depending on like, because I pay myself a percentage wage, but just for cash flow reasons, people pay me at all different times. I find it easier to like pay myself a base rate each week that I know I can depend on and budget. And then whatever is left over goes into like a sort of sinking fund for wages, I guess, and I can get paid a bonus at the end of the month, which I'll probably allocate to savings. So my base for this month was $1,000 or $250 a week, which you can see if I look at my screenshot of budget allocation. Some weeks I just earn money from my business. Other weeks it's from like my agency or my gym reception role. So I have like multiple streams of income coming in. And then if we look down at my other income, I got paid twice in the month of August from Fitness Cartel. I can say which gym I work at, I guess. I should probably change that actually so that people don't stalk me. Let's, awesome. No, that's fine. There's like 20 Fitness Cartels in Queensland. You won't know which one I work at. So I got paid these two amounts, and so all of these amounts are after tax. So the money I pay myself is after I've set aside money for tax, for super, equipment, reinvestment in the business, all of that stuff. So yeah, if you want a video on how I do that, let me know. So I guess if we look across here, these are my sinking funds. So I have a lot. Next year I want to condense this down a little bit. But we can see here I drew down money from that for some gifts. Took almost all of my buffer money this month because it just turned out to be a bit expensive. Travel, this is again going to be skewed because of that amount and correction that we put in on the 20th. This is the money I added to my glow up fund for my hair appointment. And I sort of shut down my digital nomad sinking fund and moved that into travel. So that's why that's a negative. And then therapy, I like to sort of set aside the money I need for my therapy appointment whenever they come around. So that's just sitting there ready to go whenever I have my appointment. I don't have to find that $200 odd every time. I didn't invest anything this month, so September I'm looking to change that now that I've gotten rid of my debt. We can see here, yay, the last $700 I gave to my dad, so no more debt along here. So we can see here where I spent most of my money, what happened on August the 18th. What happened? Oh, that's when I did that travel correction. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with this month. I've been able to hit all my financial goals, dip into my like emergency fund or anything like that. I use the buffer fund, which is essentially what it's there for. Could be the last time that we fall. So I've already pre-filled out September's budget. I'm projecting to earn about $2,500. So that is because I leave for Bali like midway through the month. So as of like this last fortnight of the month, I won't really be working at my casual jobs, so I'm only expecting like a half paycheck. So we can see here I'm not expecting anything from Helios. I've got my new sort of restructured lower $200 buffer amount in there from my agency. I am doing a house sitting gig for a week in September, so I've put that in there. And this is my projected paychecks from Fitness Cartel. So I worked this out. There's a website called Pay As You Go where you can essentially put in like gross how much you're earning. I just times my hours by my hourly rate, and then I put that in and it gives you like your net figure of what you can sort of expect, so I can budget a little bit more. So we can see here I also like to do a zero-based budget, so all of the money is allocated to something. So if we come across here to my expenses for the month, so I have included, like I'm planning on semi-tracking my expenses in Bali. It's just going to be a bit hard because I'll be using more cash there. Not everything will be on a card. So I'm planning on having about $1,000 spending money over 2 weeks. So I think that should be more than enough considering all my accommodation and everything is covered. So I just need to pay for food, transport, going out, that sort of thing. So for groceries, I've budgeted $280. So that'll be over my first 2 weeks while I'm house sitting, and then when I'm away, we'll probably be grocery shopping and cooking in the house. Fuel, I've budgeted $60, but I feel like maybe I could budget that up to $90 and use that money because I'll be driving to and from the airport, and where I'm house sitting is out of town, so I think I'm going to spend a bit more. Health and medical, $60. because I'm going to buy some like probiotics and things from the chemist before I go. So that's why that's there. None for parking. Dining out, $60. Takeaway, $30. That's probably going to go over. Coffee, $95, because I'll probably be buying a lot of coffees and drinks while I'm in Bali. Drinks, $70. I do have a ladies' long lunch in the first weekend of September, so I'll probably be spending a bit on drinks. Entertainment, $50. Don't know, we'll see. Social, $140 for like going out in Bali, and I do also have my friend's son's first birthday in the first week of September as well, so we're going to the zoo, so I'll need to buy a ticket for that. Shopping, $30. You never know. Nothing for spending on Depop or personal, which I don't really know why I have that category. Next year I want to simplify and combine a lot of these. Beauty expenses, $555, so that's including my hair appointment, my massage and blow dry that I've pre-booked in Bali, plus another $80 because I think I'm going to buy like a tan. I need new body moisturizer, I need new shampoo, I need a Chemist Warehouse haul, if you will. So I've budgeted for that. Health and wellness, $50, because I'm planning on buying a 3-day pass to Bamboo while I'm in Bali. Travel expenses, $340. I need to book my travel insurance still, my Bali visa, and I've just put in some stuff for like travel, like Ubers, that sort of thing. Gifts, $40 for my friend's son's birthday. Nothing. And then I've allocated $10 for one sweet treat, which will more than likely be an almond croissant from the markets. So yeah, if we go across to saving and sinking funds, this is pretty self-explanatory. So travel, I've got $586 because I'll be drawing down basically the $1,000 from my travel fund. And then I'm planning on starting to save for my next trip, which is in February next year, which is a Southeast Asia trip with my friend. So I'm planning on allocating about $500 to that fund. And then Glow Up Fund, I've got -$400 for taking out the hair appointment money. And then I do have a little bit for investing. And as we can see, no debt because it's all done. So that leaves me with a zero-based budget. And yeah, so that is my September budget. Could be the last time that we fall. Welcome to my Notion. So this is my like 2026 dashboard. If you have any questions, I would love nothing more than to do a dedicated Notion video. As we can see, your girl lacks a system. So I've got all of my goals here. Oh, let's tick this one off actually while we're going. Yay. Let's change that to a little tickaroo. And these are like all goals if they're completed or not. And this one can be moved to done. Boom. Fabulous. Yeah, so these are all my goals for the year. This is not done in, yeah, this is like more so my categories. So I've got fitness and movement, relationship and lifestyle, and wealth and career. So that's done. And then we can see here, this is in progress. Where do I see that? Oh, in progress. This is in progress. And yeah, so we've got lots of goals down here. Then I've got my vision board for 2026. I've got my big bucket list of things. It's just a bit random. And yeah, then if we go up to here, I've got a month. So every month I start a new Notion page. September, we're going to be stepping into spring. Your girl's going to Bali. She's got new financial income. Like, it's going to be a lot lighter and brighter. You feel me? So we can start a new month. I have a templated button here, new month. I originally got this Notion template from Nika on YouTube, but I have tweaked it quite a lot to fit me. So also within the new month, there's like lots of reflections and goals. So down here, let me see, I can tick this off. Let's see how we went with my goals. Promptly AI, that's another business idea I had. I have not done anything on that. Haven't really hit these goals either, if I'm being so for real. And then I go into each day. So like I have week 1, week 2, and then each day has its own to-do list. And I also started a sort of, I've got quick ticks, tasks and projects, and then my top priorities for the day and any meetings or appointments. That's from Miss Grace Beverly. There's so much that I could go into with this, so it's really not important. And I need to not get distracted. But if we come down, I've got my goals again here, and then I have a monthly reset little thing and gallery at a glance. So if we look back at July, we can see it's a really good way to like reflect on the month and remember. I can see what happened. So yeah, and anything fun or like that was a bit of a moment. So let's go ahead and just start. I think I'm gonna move over Red Rover. It's gonna be September. So of course I'm gonna make this little flower to represent spring. And I usually do the banner last. So this month I write down sort of what I want the month to be about. And to be honest, I use Claude for a lot of this, and I have like a dedicated Claude project which helps me, but I'm gonna use my actual intelligence, my AI, to do this and show you guys because it's quite fun. So this month is all about, what's this month about for me? Having fun. I feel like I'm not good at having fun. Having fun, enjoying the rewards of my work, and stepping outside of my comfort zone. And then a quote for the month, because I feel like that's something I could work on and inject more of in my life. Maybe just quote, let's say, don't forget to have fun. Duh. And then I usually like to change that to like if there's a certain color that correlates to the month. Where's the color? Hello? Oh, here. And I'm gonna naturally change that to pink. So then I'll have top 3 goals for September. And I find it so funny. I had this same template when I was living in China. I've had this template now for like going on 3 years. And it's so funny to me, like the difference in my life and like the goals over the years. So let us goal 1. And I need to get better about not setting myself up for failure and like setting too big of like an audacious goal that it's like almost impossible for me to hit. So the goals for September, I think I should put something about my like financials. What was my goals for September? Fully fund Bali account. Okay, let's just say have $500 in travel fund by the end of the month. Okay, and I forgot any of my little emojis. I sort of take my goals and everything that is like going on in the month, as I said. So we can see here a lot of them are very similar. So this is August. A lot of this stuff I haven't been doing, but you know, progress over perfection, as we can say. But I also just like to sort of, it's representing my goals, but also like the energy I want to bring in. So in terms of fun, and I honestly like to pull from my 2026 like a vision board folder so that I'm sort of like constantly revisiting my goals and what I was visualizing for myself and putting that into practice throughout the year, if that makes any sort of sense. So for me, for September, I always like to focus on the first 2 here because I have a phone widget for my month and they're the first 2 that are shown on my phone screen. So I like to make sure that the first 2 images on the left are like the most sort of prevalent to what's going to go on in September. So I'm going to pick this photo because it just to me represents like friendship and having fun in Bali, which is what's going to be happening. Next, I might try and find like a co-working cafe spot. This looks pretty good. And then what else are we calling in for the month? Movement. So I'm going to go to my health and wellness section. And I think I will sometimes go to Pinterest, but I do overall like to try and use these pictures. Just feels a bit more consistent for me. That one. And then maybe this one for like eating at home and like being healthy, health queen. Alrighty. What else do we have? Movement, YouTube, and the travel fund. So I'm gonna do, so I feel like that pretty much encapsulates what I want for the month. I was gonna do my September like vision board and stuff, but I think I might do that, like my September screensaver and all that, but this video is getting way too long and I have some other stuff I need to do. So I'm gonna cut this here, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this style of content. Any feedback, anything you wanna see, don't hesitate to ask. And I'm going to talk to you very, very soon. So yeah, don't forget my next video is going to be my Vietnam travel vlog from earlier in the year. So look forward to chatting with you soon. Bye.